What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Sorry we missed you last week. We're picking it up this week. It's just summertime. It's nice out, having a good time. There's been a lot of things to do around the shop too, with all the tracks being open outside, so my time gets a little more divided up, so that's why I haven't been doing as many videos. But we're here now. We got a couple updates for you. Obviously got a couple cars here. Tyler show off. Got a car there. So we're going to get into that in a minute, so stick around for that. First off, I'm going to get into updating for news, upcoming events, which is going to be the BBQ Blast. Well, I guess technically the next one we have is a rock crawling competition this Saturday, July 9th. So come out for that. That's going to be out back. Good time. You see the flyer I have up on Facebook for that. And then after that, the BBQ Blast, which is arguably one of the biggest races for us throughout the year. Probably second maybe to the JC race, but close call.
It's that big.
Well, the thing is we run dirt and turf.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And coupled with the food, so it kind of adds to the size. Where the other ones
Busy
are just,
weekend.
The other ones are just the turf races. So, but anyway, just a quick. I'll put up a more of a detailed post as we get a little bit closer, and a flyer for it. But just for those of you wondering, the BBQ Blast is the 24th. Is the main day. The Sunday, I believe it's the 24th. That day we'll have the dirt, turf, and the food Sunday. Okay, food is only on Sunday. And then I know we were having a little confusion on this, and I keep trying to just reiterate it. The dirt racing is going to be 2 days. Dirt racing will start Saturday and go till Sunday. So our main, two qualifying rounds Saturday, qual and the main Sunday, depending on turnout. Obviously, that all varies time-wise. We did that just so we could run a little bit longer nitro mains and stuff for you guys. It's what we tried to do the last race. That got rained out on Saturday. But we're going to try it again on the barbecue. So that again, that's only food on Sunday. No food Saturday. But we will be racing dirt only Saturday. Turf racing will be all in one day on Sunday. And there may be some rock crawling going on that Sunday too. I'm talking to the guys about that. But I'm not really sure about that, so more will come out. More info may be out about the BBQ Blast. I'll write up post about it. But that is the current plan. 23rd, dirt racing. 24th, dirt and turf. Food, Sunday. You heard it here. Tell your friends.
Replay it if you're confused.
Yeah. And it will be new layouts for both dirt and turf. Both will be fresh layouts. We got a couple tricks up our sleeves for the dirt to hopefully try to minimize dust. We've been really trying to put in the time for that. We actually got another new piece of equipment coming that I didn't even tell Tyler about till just right now.
Say what?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that after, because that's still in the test trial, so I can't spill the beans right now. But we'll talk about that after the show.
Huh.
And then, so it should be a good time. I don't know what else we got. That's pretty much what we got for up and coming. Drag racing Sunday. I got a cool little drag car to show you here too after. So drag racing event Sunday.
Little drag car.
I showed him a little bit before when we did the drag racing one, but I got the electronics in it now. Justin got it all pimped out this afternoon. Of course, New Wave setup in it because it's the Team New Wave drag team. But that's Sunday. Come down, drag racing. So that's it for upcoming events, for now at least. So we're going to get into talking about what Tyler P brought for us, and then I think there was a new motor Tyler wanted to touch on because he was excited about. Brought back some memories, and
yeah,
he's just excited about motors.
Yeah, I'm always kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with the industry and what's new and latest and greatest. The current generation of stock motors are at least a year or two old at this point. If you think about the X Factor came out in
I think the Phantom one is probably the newest
the
one
Phantom,
right now.
yeah, the Phantom's going to be the newest because they tend
New
to
Wave, of course.
And New Wave. But Trinity just announced they have their 1 hour podcast posted on YouTube. They just announced the slot machine brushless motor. So that's in homage to the original slot machine, which was a 27-turn stock brushed motor. There was the original one in the late 80s, and then the slot machine 2 in like 93, 94. To kind of summarize what they said about the new motor, they acknowledged that the X Factor had, we'll say, reliability issues or durability issues with the way the can at the
can design was
at
not
the,
ideal.
At the motor plate end was a little bit kind of spidery and thin, and if you took a hard enough whack, they could shift. They said that they addressed that with the new design. It's a lot more like the older D4 design where you have basically a cap on each end.
Yeah.
And then the screws go through the stator in like little cutouts.
I think that's more ideal for setting the timing more.
It's way more consistent.
Yeah.
And it's an easier motor to work on because you can pull the rotor out from either end. But they said that this new motor is supposed to have more low end than the X Factor. But I was surprised that they were this honest about it. They basically said, if you're not in the at the top of the game, or if your X Factor, your current motor isn't like trash, it's not a night and day difference, which I thought was kind of honest of them. They basically said it has a little more low end, but the X Factor can still hang if you have a really strong motor, which means the current generation of Phantoms, the current generation of all those top tier motors, R1, etc. They'll all still compete. I will probably still buy one because it's an all black motor with a purple timing.
You've been saving all these motors too? You collecting them and be vintage eventually?
Yeah, I'll hold on to them for 20 years and then set up a display in my house. I don't know. I have the R1.
It's easier now than collecting them later.
I keep the ones that I really like that perform. The R1 Volta did not meet my expectations.
What about that?
The sensor board went bad, and it wasn't really that fast. I was kind of disappointed. Maybe the sensor board was holding it back. Maybe it had some kind of a manufacturing defect. I'll put a new one in and run it to 170 degrees every time I go out on the turf until it goes, and then it'll be what it'll be.
Glowing.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the deal with the new Trinity motor. Slot machine, you can check that out. And honestly, I've been delinquent. I have yet to try the new Wave motor, which is on my to-do list. So I need to make that happen.
I've tried them all. No. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, so I got to get my hands on. So I just picked up a 4-wheel buggy.
Did you?
Got it used, got a screaming deal. Guy loaded it with stuff, and it came with a much more ESC, which makes me happy because I like their stuff.
What brand?
The only brand.
Losi.
Team Associated.
Oh, God, thank God. I thought you were going to say it was a TLR.
I could do TLR. Mm-hmm. Certain people, beef, were giving me a hard time about buying another,
What?
Evil Empire vehicle, but that's okay. We all have our opinions.
Let me tell you something about Beef. When Beef got in the game, all he drove was Losis.
Right, because he hates Associated.
Oh, I got you.
He hates Associated.
Associated is the one you're talking about.
I always disliked Losi when I was a kid, which makes the following kind of ironic. So the two cars that I brought today...
So change the subject. Check
I
these out.
don't have any vintage Associated vehicles. Well, I do. I have a T3 that needs to get restored. It's actually in really good shape.
You have an RC10?
Nope. I don't have a gold pan. I don't have the black pan. I don't have any of the old Associated stuff.
You gotta get that.
I know.
Come on, dude.
I'm running out of room. So what I brought today, we'll kind of do them one at a time.
Yeah.
This is an original Team Losi Double X buggy. So this was Losi's flagship buggy in 94, 95, 96. Like they've done with the 22, where they do a 5.0, 6.0, or whatever. This car had different iterations, but it was basically a rear motor.
It's got the Hydra in it?
NICAD era buggy. No, this does not have the Hydra drive. I know. It just has the slipper clutch.
So I'm excited. Dude.
Yeah, I put the sticker on because it came in the kit. Losi had some cool stuff back then. They had the Hydra drive.
Because it came in the kit.
Which was basically stickers at horsepower.
Putting a supercharged sticker on your car and it just doesn't have one.
Is that wrong?
Feels wrong.
Feels wrong if you have a conscience. So Losi had a thing called the Hydra drive back in the day, which was basically a torque converter that would go where the slipper clutch went, and it was filled with viscous fluid, just like a gear diff is today.
True.
And it gave slip in the drive line, so on really, really loose tracks, it mellowed the power out. And this was back before you had ESCs with a gazillion programmable settings that could, mellow the power delivery. So this car, in some ways, was very ahead of its time.
Except this one because it has a slipper clutch.
Yes, because this was this was actually the Sportsman kit.
The slipper clutch was probably a better option. The Hydro Drive did do what it said, but it ended up kind of not. I don't know. It was okay, but not the best.
It's not around anymore for a reason.
Yeah.
I know some people in the drag community have looked at using that as a way to, it's like a torque converter in a car to kind of mellow the power delivery, but it's not on off-road cars anymore.
No.
Sorry.
Not on any drag cars either now.
So I'll give you guys a look at the car itself with the body off. The Double X platform was kind of cool. They had a hinged front end. So if you took these two screws out, the entire front end would fold out. So you could take the servo out, you could work on the steering linkage or any of that stuff. Unfortunately, the hinges were a weak point. So if you were really aggressive or you tended to hit stuff like most, entry-level racers would with this car, you basically would just pop the nose right off the car if you weren't careful.
Perfect.
So, but this particular car has the Novak Double XL receiver, as well as the Novak Hammer Pro ESC, which is period correct to the car. This one actually works, which is pretty cool.
It's a Hammer.
It's the Hammer. Yep. That was the top of the line ESC back then. It would handle up to 12 cells.
12S.
NiCad. Divide by 3. And it would handle, down to like a single turn modified brush motor. This car has a Trinity Midnight 2 stock motor, which was not a rebuildable stock motor. The motor that came after it, the Paradox, was. So this is all very period correct. If you were racing dirt in the mid-90s, there's a pretty high chance that you had this car with this combo in it.
Even the sweet pink springs.
Yeah, that was I miss the fluorescent colors. I miss that era, and even
a little paint mark on them now.
I know. It's like you can have black springs with a tick of paint or maybe a little piece of shrink tube on them. Yeah. Losi was like, "No, we're going to do bright pink, bright blue, bright red," and
you do have all the sweet purple hardware on there too to match your sweet purple heatsink.
Yep. So Trinity, existing way back then too, they were still in the game back then of doing hardware kits for the cars. Only you could get away with aluminum screws because the cars weren't as heavy and they weren't subjected to the same loads that the new cars are. So this has the purple anodized Trinity screw kit and nuts, and of course that matches the Novak ESC heat sinks. Back when the motors or the Speedos did not come with a embedded heat sink in the case, a nice aluminum case that just expels heat. No, you had to put the heat sinks directly on the field effect transmitters? Field effect transmitter, whatever. The FETs on the ESC. So, it's a cool car, but when you look at these things compared to a modern buggy, they are missing huge amounts of tunability that we come to take for granted today. So.
Pretty sweet. The only thing I never liked about these old cars, not that I ever really had to race them because I was in diapers.
Your words, not mine.
But I did have had the luxury to work on a few of them. It was really nuts that you had to use 2 different wrenches to take the wheels off.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's a very small thing, but
it's like a 440 nut here, and then it's a, I don't know,
I think
3/8.
3/32.
Yeah, it's
8/32. I'm not good at my standard sizes.
They're different.
But it always drove me nuts, so I used the power pliers. Oh. They weren't collectible vehicles at the time. They were this with a new speed control and a 3-cell, and I'm racing it up and down the road and don't know why it's breaking. I'm like, well, it's a 25-year-old car.
Well, and none of this stuff is collectible until it is, right?
Right, it wasn't.
It's only 30 years down the road that people are like, oh, I should have.
Yeah, this wasn't last year that I was doing it. This was still probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, and these were relatively easy to get your hands on, even 10 years ago. Like when I started coming here racing short course.
Yeah, there was still the B4s, and there was still a lot of the short course. What was it? Triple X SCTs.
Triple X.
They weren't terribly far off of this one. This is a double.
Double X.
So the triple was even a little bit different, but still not. They still use the wheel nuts though.
Yeah, the wheel nuts were the same. I mean, it still had. These were all ball diff transmissions. There was no such thing as a gear diff back then.
Another thing I love.
Because nothing was high grip. They were running on these loose, loomy, blown out tracks, and
I also hate ball diffs.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yep. Anyway, what do we got in? So door number 2.
We'll get this out of the way. Yeah, so what did you referred to the Losi as a modern or a vintage race buggy, and you referred to this one as a nice try,
Yeah,
I think.
nice try.
So this is a Tamiya Super Astute.
It's astute.
There were, a Tamiya Super Smart, which if you bought and tried to race, you arguably were not. This was their attempt at a hardcore race buggy, and it has some cool stuff that was ahead of its time. I'll try to give you guys a little shot of the car.
Just couldn't put it all together.
Honestly, the stickers and the paint schemes,
I will give it that.
it's killer. In person, this car is gorgeous.
Screams 90s, pretty
And
bad.
then it has the under tray that seals everything up pretty nice, which is supposed to be white, but I did it in a bright color. This car was ahead of its time for a couple of reasons. They did some weird stuff, like all of the suspension pivot points are bronze bushed. They have metal bushings in the pivot joints. Instead of the, like today, you would have a plastic insert you could replace. Nope. We're going to put more metal in the car. Heavy car, good car. Looking at the back end of the car, the rear hub carriers on like a modern Schumacher car, what do they have? They have those little easy to pull out clips, right? So you want to move the hub forward or back. You don't need tools. You can do it on the fly. This car has that. It also has multiple mounting holes for the outer pivot on the hub. See that? So it doesn't have pills like a modern buggy, but it gives you like 4 different holes. So you actually could change the hub height, and you could change how far out from the arm the hub was mounted. So there were some neat things that they did. And this car originally, the first Astute was 1988 or 89. This was 92, 93. This is actually a re-release. So this is a 2018 car.
At least they got the wheel nuts right.
Yep. All the same size.
Ugh, I keep yawning, dude. I don't know why.
Am I boring you?
It must be the air conditioning in here.
It is the best room in the building. So there's the car with the body off. It's a flat fiberglass chassis with, I've got it zip tied because I didn't put a servo in because it's a shelfer. But it has, a modern-ish looking steering linkage with the...
What is that? Speed control?
I don't know.
Tekin Rebel?
But yeah, so this is another functional Speedo. This is a Tekin Rebel. This was one of their entry level with reverse.
Whoa.
Because back then you couldn't have forward, reverse, and brakes
Paid
and
extra
pick.
for that.
You basically, like if you want reverse, you can have reverse. If you want brakes, you can have brakes. You cannot, most ESCs back then did not have both. And as
Did this have brakes and reverse?
No, I think the Rebel is forward, reverse.
Just kicks reverse when you hit it?
I think so. Later on, they built like a delay in to kind of soften it, but even the Novak Super Rooster, which I have in a monster truck, you've got to be really careful how much you try to brake, or you BREAK. But yeah, so this was an entry-level ESC. You can see they have like the built-in heatsink, which is just massive. So, on a car like this where there's no upper-lower deck, it's easy to mount it, but other cars, it would be kind of a challenge to fit it in.
It's awesome.
And this has the 27-turn Trinity Paradox motor. So that was the first rebuildable stock motor in history. You could take the end off of it and cut the comm, clean the thing out properly. It was actually pretty nice. Made things a lot simpler. But this was supposed to be a race buggy. It has plastic shocks. And it also has like a skyscraper ride height. The back's not the same as the front.
Probably twice the price of the Losi too.
They were pretty close.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but when you look at what you got for materials, the Trinity, or I'm sorry, the Losi, it's more plastics, but they're engineered plastics. They're composites. They have, arguably much more strength than the fiberglass.
Stamped on a tree. I think a lot of those, you could buy a lot of like plastic with the carbon in it for those too, right?
Yeah, they had the carbon
like the
composite.
hard plastics.
Yeah, you could do that too. That was what the later versions of these cars came with. That was like how they hopped them up over time.
These are just all injected on a tree kind of stuff, right?
A lot of it is. The arms are it's fiberglass shock towers and chassis, but it's she's a wiggler. There's a lot of flex, but it does have a slipper clutch. It has a ball diff, I think, but even the transmission, you would think, well, it'd be a 3-gear. Like Associated and Losi had. Nope, it's some bizarro, totally different architecture, because Tamiya can't just copy a good design, they have to be different. Which,
respect,
in fairness, has worked for them for a long time. So,
I still love those front tires though. Do we make a spike tire or a rib tire?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll do a little of both.
Yeah, so that's those guys.
They're just a gnarly spike and then a pretty gnarly rib, too.
I know.
I kind of like them.
But, yeah, no ball. There's like 5 ball bearings in this car. The rest of it's all bronze bushings.
It's awesome.
In the tires, in the arms. It was a very different time in the hobby. But, boy, it's a good-looking car. So.
If I could turn back time.
Appreciate the past. Someday you're going to be part of it.
Like right now? Whoa. Sir, it's already happened. Oh, I don't want to get copyright infringement. If somebody knows what I'm talking about right off that. That was before me, too, and I love that movie.
That went over my head.
This one there, I don't know if I get that. Spaceballs.
Oh, I hate that movie. You hate Spaceballs.
Tear them up in the comments.
Love
guys.
Star Wars, hate Spaceballs. Sorry.
When they watch their movie again to see what's happened. Sir, it's already happened.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's happening now.
Yeah, okay.
But what about then? Then is now. Tear them up in the comments. I'm not going to defend them. All right.
I'm sorry for disappointing you all.
Yes. My turn. All right. Now that we've gone back from 1995 or 85 or wherever we just were, we're going to bring it back to 2022. Now, I showed you guys this a little bit in the last one.
That thing is like wicked.
Like, can't even fit the whole thing. So this is the Drag Race Concepts Top Fuel car. Me and Justin are pretty excited about these. We've been putting them together. I have the funny car too. He currently has that as we're speaking. He's mounting the body on that. So this is the Top Fuel car. We got the Trinity Dragmaster whole shot rocket speed control and a New Wave 6.5 in there.
Rocket speed control?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. I can show you after.
I haven't heard of that brand yet.
But
that looks 8th scale-ish. That's a beefy speedo.
It's 10 scale. It's 160 amp. Yeah, I can fill you more in about it after. But yeah, so we're pretty excited about this. This is a CRC 4-bolt rubber tires. I know those of you out there, oh, they look kind of small, this and that. You're right. We were trying to find bigger tires, but to find rubber tires with a 4-bolt pan car bolt on, whatever you call that, hub, is actually insanely hard. They're all foam. They intended for these cars to be ran with foam, but we didn't want to run with foam for 2 reasons. One, we don't run any prep on our track, so the foams, you basically have to have a fully prepped and clean track in order for foams to really grip the whole time. And I know someone's probably in the comments going to argue with me about it, but we run rubber tires here. We run the Outlaw class. All of our classes are rubber tire. We wanted it to be a little more realistic. That was reason number 2. They don't run foam tires on real Top Fuel cars. They run rubber tires.
No.
Come to find out. So
I thought it was just really
we wanted
foam.
a more realistic experience, and
you're going for scale.
We just don't like running foam tires. So we are gonna use the pre-treatment prep stuff, not on the track, on the tires. And I have for a fact seen them go on the funny car, and they work well. So they don't balloon up terribly. They grip great. The thing went like a rocket in a straight line. So it's all working out. So that is what I'm gonna share with you. There will be more videos on this guy. Look at those front wheels.
That thing is ridiculous.
They're sick. I can't even hold it straight. It's so long. But yeah.
I can't even imagine what it's gonna be like to drive that.
So it can happen in the
Does it like want to go straight, or are you gonna be sitting there like dithering the wheel?
So I haven't used the rail yet, but there was a funny car out there, and it went straight as narrow.
Really?
Yeah, he was running the same tires. It's kind of a guy we've been talking to. He has the older version of the. This is the Drag Race concept car. He has the older version of the car. Ours is the newer version. He's got the one where he's got the spur gear on the side. They call it the Sidewinder. The one we have is the inline, where it's got the ring and pinions,
yeah,
basically 1-to-1 ratio. So it might be a little different for the torque and stuff, but whatever. We're having fun with it.
Jeez.
We're gonna wrap them up so all of them look the same as the GTR body that I had for the no prep Outlaw class. So
Orange, white, and black.
No, the red, white, and black.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I guess it's a little bit orange. I guess it kind of fades to a bit of an orange and red, so I'll give him that one.
No, that's a good looking scheme.
But yeah, so I'm going to wrap them all the same. And I do have wraps for the GTR body and the Corvette body now. If you guys want to reach out and get something custom done, more or less. I'm not insanely good artist, but I do have the templates for those.
You're like an RC car Bob Ross.
I just happy little raps. That's it. We should do a Bob Ross one. That would be pretty funny.
Big face and a fro on the hood.
Yeah. But anyway, I just want to share the progress on those. It's been taking us a while to get them done because there are personal projects and
they're so complicated.
Our personal, they're actually super easy. But our personal projects usually get tossed on the back burners for a week's on end until we get a slow day, and then we hammer them all out.
Because you're keeping the place running, and you're working on customers' cars.
We pretty much work on customers' cars before our cars, so if we get a busy streak, we might not touch our projects for a good month. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got for you. Stay posted for the BBQ Blast. More info on that coming up the 24th. Rock crawling this Saturday, the 9th. By the time you're watching this, is probably tomorrow, so get ready. Yeah, that's all I got this week. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be back next week. Like I said, busy in the summer, so we might skip weeks here and there. And sorry I haven't been posting so much. We got a lot going on in the summer. YouTube is really my winter game.
When it's dark at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.